Well, our next guest is going to be another one of our Students for Justice. And in 2021, our Students for Justice did work in Virginia. And one of the places where they postcarded before we actually had a mini democracy center was Petersburg, Virginia. I'm going to have Sannai James talk about Students for Justice and the work that she did. So take it away.
Thank you so much, Miss Andrea. Thank you, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. To reintroduce myself, my name is Sannai James. I was a Students for Justice intern for the fall 2021 Virginia's governor election. Our work consisted of a lot of things, but primarily within the first half, we did a lot of postcarding. We did a lot of ad designs for social media on Facebook and on Instagram. And then we did a lot of phone banking. And there were even some like on the ground recruitment to try to get people out to vote. But that was primarily what we were doing within it. And it was such an amazing and rewarding experience, specifically because this was my first official internship. And it was probably one of the best I will have in future years. So for the postcarding that we did, we were each given about 300 postcards. And we had to complete those within the time span to get people to go out to early vote. So a lot of these postcards went out specifically towards targeted areas. So we specifically targeted the city of Petersburg. And that turnout rate was very, very good with, I believe it was over 20% came out to early vote in Petersburg. And considering that is a city of under 40,000, that is a lot of people who specifically came out. And for postcarding, it was time consuming, but it was definitely very rewarding. And it allowed us to really connect to these people on a personal level and really understand that, okay, we are trying to handwrite each of these and try to present it as best as possible and get these people to, really understand on a personal level that this is another person talking to you and really trying to get you to understand a lot of the topics that were up for grabs for the 2021 election. And we would specifically write about healthcare, and we would write about education and voters legislation, voters reforms, and other marijuana taxes. That was another topic that was really in importance this year, specifically in Petersburg. And we really just highlighted a bunch of these things specifically within the postcards and even in the phone banking and text banking. And the text banking was a little bit more popular because talking to people on the phone was a little bit more scary. But once you really got into the swing of it, it was really, really easy. And there was a script that we did have to follow. And sometimes you could go right onto the script and it was perfectly fine. And then there's other times where you're just like, you have to think of something really quick on the fly, but even that was easy once you really start getting into it. And there were so many times where there'd be moments where you could really feel like, wow, I hope I really changed their mind in getting out to vote early or going out on election day. And it was a very, very rewarding experience. And even though, unfortunately, the candidate that we did want that specifically would have helped the topics of healthcare, education, voters legislation was not elected this year. We definitely saw some boots on the ground, and we definitely have seen the seeds of inspiration planted in a lot of these people and a lot of the young minds too, because going out on the college campuses, in the first half, trying to recruit people to write postcards. And college students are busy, but college students will do things if you promise them food and if you promise them other things as well. So we would get them to come out to these postcard parties. And while we were there, some of them wouldn't talk, but for the most part, a lot of them were very willing to listen. And they'd be willing to like discuss these topics with you. And you would see a lot of them be like, oh, well, like I didn't even know that this for instance, like voters legislation and voter reform, like they didn't even know that there was certain things that were like up for grabs or on jeopardy. And so you would see like a lot of these minds slowly being changed, and a lot of them would be like, oh, if you ever have like another thing, make sure to tell me or come out. So even though, unfortunately, we did not see any of the promised results that we wanted, there have definitely been a lot of seeds of inspiration planted in the minds of the youth, and that is ultimately the most important thing. And adding on to that, a lot of the interconnected networks that the interns have seen in this program have been very amazing. And I've managed to connect and be able to have like very strong bonds with some of the people in this program. I even have a mentor who I talk to still frequently, and I catch up with her to make sure she's doing all right, even if we're not talking about, you know, specific things according to Virginia like legislation or anything like that. There, you know, we getting connections everywhere doesn't help, doesn't hurt. This election was important. It was important for me as a personal long-term Virginia resident. And I am still very hopeful, and I'm still very, very determined to see Virginia turn back to its promised state, its full potential state, because this is a state that has a lot of very bright young minds. It has a lot of potential, and it has extreme, extreme determination and a very bright future. And so with that, I would like to thank the Center for Common Ground and Students for Justice, the Democracy Center, for allowing me to speak. And I hope everybody has a very nice night.
Thank you, Sannai. Thank you.